Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about 6 common problems on these GMC Envoys with the 4.2 liter engine as they age. Keep in mind that these issues that I'm going to talk about here are based on owner complaints. You may or may not experience these issues, but it's good to know about them. The issues I will be covering are not common issues when the vehicle was new. There are a couple of videos online about those ones, so take a look at them. I'll link some in the description below. These Envoys are getting old. You don't really come across many with less than 100,000 miles on it. So most of them have been well used, and they're very cheap now too. So it's good to know some common issues on these things as they get older. We've owned our 2006 Envoy since new, and let me tell you, it had a lot of problems that were fixed, and as these things get older, you're faced with more problems. You may think you fixed one problem, but there will always be another problem waiting for you. Hit that subscribe button and show your support to my channel. It has grown a lot, and it's all thanks to you guys. Make sure to check out Oxido LED lights and receive up to 15% off when you use my promo code, which is GMC Lincoln. Let's get on with the video, shall we? Common problem number 1 is the exhaust manifold. Since this is a straight 6 engine, there's only one exhaust manifold, and that's on the front passenger side. These things do go bad on these 4.2s as they age, and it will kind of sound like a diesel truck. You will also hear a ticking noise when you accelerate. Sometimes you only hear it when the engine is cold and it'll go away after it's warmed up, but for most of the time with the bad exhaust manifold you will hear the noise all the time. You can definitely live with this, but it's best to get this fixed because exhaust gases can leak into the cabin when you're using the HVAC inside, so that won't be good for your lungs. Getting this repaired can be tricky because the bolts holding the manifold usually breaks and can't be extracted out that easily. So you will have to take it to a machinist or use a gasket sealant when installing your new exhaust manifold. My bolts were broken and my mechanic used some exhaust sealant when he installed the new one. It worked well for the past 4 years, but now I have an exhaust manifold leak again. So I think I should have just went to the machinist and got it extracted properly and get it done right the first time. Common problem number 2 is the water pump. After about 150,000 miles on an Envoy with the 4.2, you will most likely need to replace the water pump on this thing. Mine luckily lasted all the way until 440,000 kilometers with the original pump, so I was happy. What I wasn't happy with was the process of installing a new water pump. It is very difficult to get in without cutting the radiator fan shroud, and that's what my mechanic did to get the water pump out. But once the job is done, the water pump will last a long time. I fixed the water pump before it completely failed, but I had some signs of the water pump going bad. The first sign was coolant dripping out when the vehicle is parked, and the second most telltale sign was the noise. It sounded like something was snapping inside the engine bay when the engine was running, and when I looked further into it, it was the water pump not spinning properly, so it was causing the serpentine belt to rub on the pulleys. It's obviously good to catch this problem before it gets worse, because you don't want the water pump to completely fail while you're on the highway and whatnot, and that would be bad. Common problem number 3 is the thermostat. The thermostat is located near the water pump, so when I did my water pump, I also replaced the thermostat. My thermostat was giving me problems though, so it's good that I replaced that. One of the first signs of thermostat problems was overheating. My temperature gauge would slowly climb past the optimal temperature while idling or going through a drive-thru for some coffee. At first I thought it was a bad head gasket, but there were no signs of it. My oil looked good and there was no drop in coolant level. But my friends from the GMC Envoy Facebook group pointed out that it was the thermostat stuck open, and that was the case. Once I replaced the thermostat, the overheating problem went away, and my engine was running actually a lot smoother than it did before. Common problem number 4 are the blend door actuators. These are the actuators that direct the direction of air inside the cabin. These things may go out on these Envoys, and they are a pain to replace because there's not that much space to replace them. Some actuators require the whole dash to come out, which may be very costly. That being said, this is not a super common issue as these cars age, but they are still there. Some owners have experienced this. I have too, but luckily it was the ones that were easily accessible, and those were the ones that were found under the driver footwell area. Thank goodness that I didn't have to take out the whole dash to replace some. Common problem number 5 is the air condition not working. The compressors on these things don't have a high failure rate, but what does eventually fail is the gasket on the AC lines. The gasket on the AC lines will eventually crack and will leak out Freon, causing your AC to not work. And on these XL Envoys, the common leak spot for the air condition is in the back where it connects to the rear AC system. So I'll show you that right now. Here it is. On this particular Envoy, the AC does not work because of this problem. On my Envoy with the 5.3 liter V8, I had the same exact issue, and they had to replace the whole AC line to solve this problem, which cost me $600 to do. So I don't want to do the same thing on this Envoy just yet. I can live without the air condition for a bit. This is not a 4.2 specific problem, but a problem that may affect any Envoy, so make sure the AC works when you test drive the vehicle. Last but not least, common problem number 6 is the throttle body. The throttle body on these 4.2 liter engines tend to stick and may cause drivability issues. The sticking is because of it being dirty from carbon buildup. Some owners have replaced the entire throttle body assembly, while others just clean them using throttle body cleaner. Some symptoms of a bad or dirty throttle body includes, but not limited to, is decreased engine power, rough idling, and stalling. I've had my Envoy stall before, and it was because of a dirty throttle body. I took out the throttle body and gave it a good clean, and the engine ran like new afterwards. So it's very important to keep an eye on your throttle body if you're experiencing any drivability issues. Overall, the GMC Envoy is a great vehicle if you know how to work on them. Otherwise, this is going to be in the mechanic shop every week. Anyways folks, that's going to be it for today's video. I've made a lot of GMC Envoy content, so check out my channel for more info. See you all next time.